The stone chimney rose 14 feet above Ingrid Halverson's cabin roof in Montana Territory, just like every other settler's stack along Stillwater Creek. But in November of 1877, something else rose that made her neighbors stop their wagons and stare. A second foundation of river rock, dug 6 feet into the frozen earth directly beneath where her late husband's cabin floor had been. While smoke climbed to the sky above, she was building something underground that would make the old-timers shake their heads and the young bucks laugh outright. They'd buried Lars Halverson in August, 3 months after a cottonwood log crushed his chest during a barn raising. Ingrid was 41 years old, childless, and according to the unspoken rules of the frontier, supposed to either remarry quickly or sell out and head back to civilization. Instead, she hired 2 Crow laborers to help her dig. By the first week of December, when temperatures dropped to 8 below zero, she'd excavated a chamber 12 feet long, 8 feet wide, and 7 feet deep directly beneath the cabin floor. The neighbors watched her haul out wheelbarrow after wheelbarrow of dirt, then begin lining the pit with river stones mortared together with clay she'd mixed herself. "That Swedish woman's lost her mind," said Martin Keller to anyone who'd listen. Keller had homesteaded his 160 acres 7 years earlier and survived 2 winters that killed off half the settlers in the valley. He'd built 3 cabins in his time, each one an improvement on the last, and he knew that you didn't waste labor digging holes when winter was coming. She's gonna freeze to death playing in the mud while her woodpile runs out. But Ingrid Halverson wasn't playing. She was rebuilding the heating system her grandfather had used in a farmhouse outside Uppsala, Sweden. A system that stored heat in stone and earth instead of letting it escape up a chimney and disappear into the Montana sky. What made the neighbors laugh wasn't just the digging. It was what she did with the chimney itself. She redirected it. The main flue still went up through the roof, carrying away the smoke. But before the hot gases could escape, she'd built a secondary channel that split off 4 feet above the firebox and curved downward through the cabin floor. This underground passage snaked through her stone-lined chamber in a series of deliberate turns, heating the rocks for hours before the cooled smoke finally rejoined the main chimney and vented outside. The principle was older than America itself. Romans had heated bathhouses this way 2,000 years ago. Koreans had used ondol systems for centuries, but on the Montana frontier in 1877, it looked like madness. Thomas Reardon rode over from his place 3 miles north the day Ingrid was mortaring the last stones into place. Reardon had been a sergeant in the Union Army, had spent a winter at Fort Laramie, and he didn't suffer fools. He dismounted, studied the excavation through the gaps in the floorboards she'd temporarily removed, and said what others were thinking. "Ma'am, you've got maybe 5 cords of wood split, and you're burning through it twice as fast trying to heat the ground. Come February, you'll be burning furniture. Come March, we'll find you frozen." Ingrid looked up from her work, clay on her hands, and the confidence of absolute certainty in her eyes. "By February, Mr. Reardon, I'll be burning half the wood you are and sleeping warmer than you've slept since you left whatever heated house you grew up in back east." Reardon snorted. He wasn't cruel, just practical. "Heat rises, Mrs. Halverson. Always has. You're fighting nature." "Heat radiates," she corrected, "in all directions, and stone holds it, through the night, through the next day, through times when the fire's low." He shook his head and mounted up. As he rode away, he called back, "I'll check on you come January. If you're alive, I'll bring you a cord of wood. If you're not, I'll bury you next to Lars. If you find yourself respecting the wisdom that kept people alive when there were no second chances, when a bad decision in November meant a frozen corpse in March, hit that subscribe button. We're preserving the knowledge that built this country, one forgotten innovation at a time." By mid-December, Ingrid had replaced the floorboards over her underground chamber and could feel the first benefits of her work. The cabin interior measured 64 degrees Fahrenheit at dawn, 8 degrees warmer than it had ever been the previous winter with the same amount of fire. The stone mass beneath the floor, now heated to temperatures exceeding 200 degrees during evening burns, released its stored warmth slowly through the night. She could let the fire die down to coals after midnight and still wake to a cabin that didn't have frost on the inside walls. But the real test was coming. Everyone on Stillwater Creek knew it. The Crow elders had seen too many magpies flocking early, Too many beaver dams built higher than usual. The woolly bear caterpillars showed more black than brown. All the signs pointed to a winter that would make men question whether this territory was worth settling at all. Sarah Brennan, who lived closest to Ingrid with her husband Daniel and their 3 children, stopped by in the 3rd week of December. Sarah was 29, Texas-born, and had survived things Ingrid couldn't imagine. She'd lost 2 babies to cholera on the wagon trail north, had walked 47 miles when their ox went lame, and she approached frontier life with a